Forspoken, an open-world action-adventure RPG game. What's the story, and how does it play? We'll get into that today.
Did I just do that?
We did.
I just moved shit with my freaking mind!
The story. You play as Frey Holland, a troubled teen living in modern-day New York City with her cat. Everything's not going well. She's sick of the city and wishes to leave. And she did, but not in a way that she expected, as a portal opens and she's flung into the fantasy land of Arthia. Now trapped in Arthia, she finds a magical sentient golden bracelet wrapped around her arm. She nicknames her bracelet Cuff. She also discovers that she has the ability to cast powerful spells and use magic to traverse the landscapes of Arthia. She sets off to find her way back home. Throughout your explorations, you'll find that Arthia once flourished under the reign of the benevolent matriarchs called Tantas, when suddenly a devastating blight called the Break relentlessly corrupted everything it touched. The Break transformed animals into beasts, men into monsters, and rich landscapes split into 4 dangerous realms. And at the center of it sits the Tantas at her throne, now ruling as a maddened and evil sorceress. For some reason, you are not affected by the Break, and desperate for answers, you agree to help the last remaining citizens of Arthia, who see you as their only hope to freeing them from this corruption. Your journey will bring you across strange and treacherous lands, taking you deeper into the heart of corruption, where you must battle monstrous creatures, confront the powerful Tantas, and uncover the secrets that awaken something much more from within. Ultimately, hoping what you found will not only save Arthia, but return you back to your own world.
Might as well while we're here. Besides, I want to know more about Scylla and Johidi Noor.
Presentation. The world of Arthia is something that you can typically find in Final Fantasy games. Castles that seem to defy physics, open landscapes that will remind you of Final Fantasy 15, and fantastic monsters with some larger-than-life designs. The world is vast, colorful, and beautiful, filled with different landscapes like green lush fields, medieval towns like Sipple, deserts, mountainous regions, and highly corrupted parts of the world where black fog engulfs everything in darkness. The monsters in this game look like something straight out of other modern-day Final Fantasy games, with most of them taking on animal motifs, but with a fantasy medieval design. You also have dragons in this game, and they look like, well, dragons from medieval times. In addition to animal-like monsters, you have zombie-like humans, those corrupted by the Break, now roaming the open world, corrupting everything around them. Spells and abilities that you cast look great, with the 4 different brightly colored sparks showing you the different elements. These spells can be used in combat and to traverse through vast open plains, and it's a treat to watch your magical abilities spark even as you parkour your way across the world.
Looks like this is the place.
Well, in we go.
Damn, this stuff is heavy.
The reassuring heft of Odvaha.
The gameplay. Being an open-world game, you can explore the world, but you do not have access to a car like in Final Fantasy 15, nor a chocobo. In Forspoken, you'll be traveling by foot, imbued with magic, so you can parkour and cover long distances by holding down one button, moving in any direction, and letting your magical abilities handle the rest. This is very similar to the Assassin's Creed series, but in much higher fantastic speeds. It is not limitless though, as you have a magic stamina meter that drains slowly with the use of your traversal magic, but thankfully, it refills quickly. Sprinting across Arthia's gorgeous fields without a care in the world can feel somewhat therapeutic. Hardly anything is an obstacle for you as you parkour, as you will automatically bound over small objects and hop over gaps. What you can't do is climb up vertical walls, but it does make you wonder if you will eventually unlock the ability that allow you to do so. The world is peppered with objectives that you can complete and enemies to murder. Towns in Forspoken works very similarly to towns in most RPG adventure games. Sipple, which seems to be the main populous town, is filled with NPCs that serve typical RPG purposes like giving quests and information and trading goods. You can trade your materials that you have found along your journey for new equipment and accessories. As you explore Arthia, you will come across not only enemies but also treasure chests containing items used in crafting or trading. You could even come across new equipment to add into your arsenal, experience points, and stat increases, making exploration highly rewarding. You can also collect mana around the world, needed to unlock new spells. Alternatively, you can gain mana by leveling up. Your bracelet companion, Cuff, could also scan your surroundings to fill it with various points of interest for you to explore, like Assassin's Creed's Eagle Vision. One of these points of interest could be pilgrim refuges. These refuges are peppered around the world. You can craft healing drafts and upgrade your gear inside these buildings while you take a break from exploring and fighting. There will also be corrupted locations where the break's effects has caused the area to be shrouded in darkness. These are usually filled with powerful corrupted enemies. However, with your spells, you can liberate these areas and clear the darkness. Liberating these areas usually give you much needed upgrade to your stats like a health increase. Your spells can naturally also be used for combat, to fight off enemies and to defend yourself from incoming danger. You'll have access to a large variety of spells ranging from fire, lightning, earth, and water spells. Each spell element has a damage dealing set of spells and defensive spells. You can map your damage spell to your right trigger button and your defensive spell to the left trigger. You can swap them out at any time, even in the middle of a fight. Certain enemies are weak to specific elements, while others are resistant to specific elements, forcing you to use your entire arsenal of magical spells along your journey. Some spells can also be powered up or modified if you use them while in parkour mode. With your spells, you can do everything from slinging rocks at enemies to summoning flaming soldiers to aid you in battle. You can combine abilities together in battle to create a satisfying combination of spells that is both exciting to execute and beautiful to watch as your enemies get destroyed by your magical spells. You could hit enemies with your fire-based spear spell before charging it up and throwing it as a projectile that sticks to enemies and explode like a grenade. Then encircle yourself with a ring of fire, increasing your attack power and continue destroying your enemies. This isn't a shooter game, so you can lock onto your enemies to ensure that your attacks actually hit, sort of like Dark Souls. You can create so many different kinds of explosions that are all satisfying to use, and even more satisfying to watch as everything gets destroyed around you.
For example, Prime sets up explosive traps. Screen generates a force field.
First impressions. Right off the bat, you can see that the fruit doesn't fall too far away from the tree. The studio that is developing this is the same studio that developed Final Fantasy 15, and much of the world seems to be influenced by that game. Even though the characters take on a more realistic approach as opposed to the more anime-style faces of Final Fantasy 15. The world looks interesting to explore, although I do hope that you don't end up with vast lands of emptiness. I thoroughly enjoyed the combat in Final Fantasy 15, and I'll most likely enjoy Forspoken's combat too. It's very satisfying to watch your spells land on your enemies, causing multiple kinds of explosions and gaining experience points as you perform these magical feats. I'm a sucker for making my character stronger with experience points and new gear, so this will be a treat. The story seems very average so far. It's a very typical RPG story where you try to save the world from a corrupting force, but I guess it does give you a reason to run around with your magical abilities, destroying everything in your path. I do expect that this game will take some time to finish, as per most Square Enix games, especially if you want to explore the world and see as much of it as possible. All in all, I'm looking forward to Forspoken. I think that the combat system and exploration is fantastic and is definitely worth checking out. This game releases on the 24th of January for Steam and PlayStation 5. Sorry, Xbox. So what do you think about Forspoken? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Our land suffers. You are the only hope we have. You're special.
You're the one that's planning on facing off with Syla. Tanta Syla is the strongest and most formidable of all the Tantas. You will be doing our land a great service by killing her.
Frey. No name for a demon. I am the one you seek. The one and only Tanta Syla.